Math Minute 92, problem number 1 says 30 times some number equals 6. So to figure out this missing number, I got to do the opposite of what it is showing here. So right now it's showing multiplication, so I need to do the opposite of that to figure out the missing number. So it's going to be division. So what I need to do is I need to do 6 divided by 30. Now at this point, what I want to do is I want to figure out the greatest common factor between 6 and 30, so I can divide this down into simplest form. So the greatest common factor of 6 and 30 would be 6. So I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 6. So 6 divided by 6 would be 1, and 30 divided by 6 would be 5. So 30 times 1/5 would be equal to 6. Number 2 says the volume of the box is 40. What is the missing dimension? So let's just review that the formula for volume is length times width times height. So in this case, I have 10 times 2 times some number that I don't know yet equals 40, because it said the volume of the box is 40. So first thing I'm going to do here is do 10 times 2, which is 20. So now I have 20 times some number equals 40. And we just said that to find a missing number, you do the opposite of what it's showing. So if it's showing multiplication right now, I'm going to divide to figure out the missing number. So I'm going to do 40 divided by 20. And when I do 40 divided by 20, I get 2. So the missing dimension here would be 2. Number 3, which of these numbers is evenly divisible by both 8 and 6? So what they're saying is can I divide these numbers by both 8 and 6 and get a whole number for an answer? Or am I going to get a decimal in my answer in some of these? So let's just do them all here. So I'm going to start with 16. And I am going to divide that by 8. And I get 2. So that works because that's a whole number. But then we have to do 16 divided by 6. And if I did that on my calculator, I would get 2.6 repeating. So because I got a decimal in my answer there, we would say that 16 is not divisible by both 8 and 6. So let's try 48 now. 48 divided by 8 is going to be 6. And then 48 divided by 6 is going to be 8. So those are both whole numbers for an answer. So we would say that, yes, 48 is divisible by both 8 and 6. Next one's 32. So let's do 32 divided by 8, which is 4. And then I'll do 32 divided by 6. And I get 5.3 repeating. So I got a decimal in that answer, so we would say that 32 is not divisible by both 8 and 6. And then we got 12 divided by 8. I get 1.5, so I got a decimal in that answer, so we would say that 12 is not divisible by both 8 and 6. All right, for problems 4 through 7, it says solve each equation for n. So number 4 says if n plus 2 equals 10, then what's n? Well, what I notice here is that I have two n's. So if I add two n's together, I'm going to have 2n. And then I'm going to just write the rest of the problem. Plus 2 equals 10. So the goal is here, I want to get n by itself. So the first thing I have to move is this plus 2. I got to get rid of that. So to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite of what it's showing. So right now it's showing plus 2. So to get rid of it, I need to do minus 2. And in math, when you do if you do something on one side of the equal sign, you have to do it on the other. So if I did minus 2 over here, I have to do minus 2 over on this other side as well. So now I have 2n, and those cancel out. So then I have 10 minus 2, which is 8. So now I have 2n equals 8. Well, the 2 and the n next to each other means multiplication. So if I want to get rid of this 2, which I want to get rid of that because I just want to figure out what n is, I need to do the opposite of multiplication. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So then those 2's cancel out, and I have n equals 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So n is going to equal 4 for that problem. Number 5, we have negative 6n equals negative 48. So again, the negative 6 and the n next to each other means multiplication. So to undo that, I need to divide. So I need to divide both sides by negative 6, because I want those to cancel out. So I'm left with n equals negative 48 divided by negative 6 is going to be positive 8, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Number 6 is a proportion. If n over 12 equals 15 over 36, then what's n? So to solve a proportion, we start out by cross multiplying. So we're going to do 15 times 12, which is 180. And then the last step is you divide by the other number that was there, which is 36. And I get 5. So n is going to equal 5 for this one. Number 7 says if the square root of n equals 9, what's n? So if I have the square root of n equals 9, so I want to figure out what n is. So I need to get rid of this square root sign. To get rid of a square root sign, you take it to the second power. And if I do it on that side of the equal sign, I have to do it on the other side. So taking the square root of n to the second power gets rid of the square root sign. So I'm just left with n. And then I need to do 9 squared, or 9 times 9, which equals 81. And that makes sense, because if I were to put 81 in for n, the square root of 81 is 9. So that makes sense. Number 8, we had to do what number is missing in this sequence. So what I noticed that when I go from 2 to negative 4, I multiplied by negative 2. When I went from negative 16 to 32, I multiplied by negative 2. So that's the pattern, multiplying by negative 2. So to get the missing number here, I need to take negative 4 times negative 2. Well, negative 4 times negative 2 is going to be positive 8, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So my missing number there is going to be 8. For problems 9 and 10, it says use the coordinate graph to the right. Number 9 says to get from point A to point B, you must go either up or down and then right or left. So if I start at A, so to get over to B, I'd have to go up first. I'll just write up. And then I had to go to the right to get to B. So down here, I had to go up and to the right to get from point A to point B. Now, number 10 says Sandra lives halfway between A and B. Which of these coordinates describe the location of her house? Okay, so I got to plot these points and then figure out which one seems halfway between A and B. So remember, when you're plotting points, you always start at the middle, or at 0, which is the origin. And my first point is 1, 2. So the 1 tells me that I go to the right once, and then the 2 tells me I go up twice. So that's going to put me right there. And that looks like that might be a possibility between A and B. Let's do the other one. So now the next one is 3, -3. So the first 3 tells me I'm going to go right 3 times. And the next 3, -3, tells me I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, which will put me right there. And that's way far away from A and B, so that one doesn't make any sense. And the next one, I got -5, 0. So again, I start in the middle. The -5 tells me to go left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 0 just tells me I don't go up or down. So right there. And that is not halfway between A and B. So the one that makes sense is that one right there. So we would circle that 0.12 would be halfway between A and B. All right, so go ahead and turn in Math Minute 92.